Good evening, and I'm trying to remember time zones here, but good evening in Zambia, good afternoon, good morning. Hoping everyone is fine. Um, give a couple of minutes for people to join in. Um, feel free. I think there's a link that you can join in if you want to join in. And we're literally just discussing current affairs of what's happened through the week. There's been quite a lot, so it's interesting. And if you want to chip in, please join. Let us know where you're watching us from, as per usual. I know that's most people's monologue. Like, join us when and let us know where you're watching us from. But then I think it's not my thing. But let us know where you're joining us from. I think off the Facebook user without a name from Solihull in England. Great, thanks so much. And somebody else is watching from Monze, Mr. Alex Mudenda. So thanks so much and welcome to the program. I think just off the bat, I think our week started off on a very interesting note. I know I'm trying to remember how to say this word correctly. Is it vui or vui? I think it's vui. I think there's a B. And I think that's what started the week off. In Zambia, the strangest things start the week off. And poor man, well, I'm saying poor man, he didn't look poor. He looked really happy. But he just, we saw quite a lot than we are meant to see of an MP, unfortunately. So maybe that started off the week. I would say that was a little embarrassing. But then again, for guys, it's not as embarrassing as women. I think for a woman, it's kind of dents your reputation for quite a while. For a man, it's just like, yeah, he did it, and then people move on, and life goes on because, well, it's a guy. But I think he did a good job at being a model for the Parliament motel beddings. Might need to be the poster, the poster model for those particular beddings, because I think you could actually even see the print of the motel beddings. It's hilarious, and it's equally, I think Mama Chika Monica, if anybody heard her live, really emptied that situation in terms of morality. I think for her, she always related to morality. And then we just laugh because it's a funny thing. And you're thinking, for somebody who is elderly, like at that age, should you not know how to use your phone in a smart way? Should Parliament not be teaching them what not to do, how not to get exposed? Some of these things, you're always thinking that should be in the back of your mind. And I think it's the idea that social media is safe, especially when you're elderly maybe, and you're not tech savvy. I think that's what happens. Then you do such things, and then, but whatever caused him to be exposed, I hope it got sorted, and it didn't affect his partners. But it's just embarrassing, I think, and I don't know why it's typical of the PF. And I'm hoping and praying that it never happens under the UPND. That this is something that just never happens, because I think it's really embarrassing and it becomes a joke, and you can't take somebody seriously. And I think the joke is that where he's from the East, and then on top of that he's from the East. Add on the name as well. I think he has such an interesting name, Akli or something. But then I'm from the East, so I'm just lucky that my name is Bemba. So sometimes I'm saved from some of these embarrassments when you see them. Selma Mushota says that he did a good what? This is sarcasm in the statement. Well, he was a good model for the Parliament motel beddings, is what I think, because I think the print was on there. But you begin to wonder why maybe why don't they go with their wives? I've always wondered this. I mean, but then again, it means that your life ends as a wife. Maybe you're coming from a distance, if you have a job and stuff like that. So I think it's a tough one. If they're going to be reuniting teachers, you're wondering what they can do for the parliamentarians. Pretty much nothing. I'm thinking it's a it's a funny one. how that one would be fixed. It's easy for a teacher in the rural area. It's easy for a medical person in the rural area to get connected with a spouse, but not for a parliamentarian, unless they increase their salaries. I think that somebody could probably propose this and say, increase our salaries so that then our wives come when we are coming for these sessions. Because sometimes they're actually trekking, if memory serves me, I think they're actually trekking between parliament and their constituencies. So maybe there's an essence that there's some need for some family. I don't know what they can do about that. Because to an extent, again, you can blame him. And you might say, well, it was his wife. What if he tells us it's his wife? Then what? You know what I mean? She's just lucky her face wasn't there, but it's one of those funny things. I don't know if you meet him, you keep a straight face, because I would start giggling the moment I see him, which would just be really bad. Recruitment for ZAF, recruitment for the army, and it's been received. I think youth were really excited to start with, and then it was the age range. I think the limit for ZNS professionals was 34, if memory serves me right. So it's 18 to 34, and it kind of cuts off quite a few people, quite a few age. So the 35 is completely cut off. Now, when you say a youth is up to 35. So again, why leave that one off? Why go up to 34? What's the difference between a 34-year-old and a 35-year-old? You know? But it's been I think it's been a funny recruitment. I found it funny and even downright disappointing, I would say, because I always tend to think that the army or the security forces are supposed to be somehow a little sophisticated. We could sophisticated in terms of maybe you could talk about maybe cyber wise, and it just fell short, I think, because I think when you look at that recruitment, some of them do go up to, I think, 25, which is granted because apparently you need to be really fit. Past 25, your fitness is a bit here and there, but that doesn't, to be honest, when you look at an African's physique, I highly doubt you could then say that no, an African youth at just above 25 cannot be fit or cannot manage joining the army. You know, it's neither here nor there, I would say. But according to the Zambian recruitment, they were only wanting up to 25. Then the one for professionals, they wanted up to 34. That's the one that I was thinking, what's the point? Why cut off the 35-year-olds when the youth go up to 35? But I think it's beyond my reasoning. On top of that one, the other challenge was that you had to certify your GCSEs with ECZ. Now, a lot of youths were struggling to do this. On top of that, there was quite a lot. I think on Monday there were videos of youths, having scuffles trying to get in. Then the story started of the, bribing and getting into the, and that's where I was thinking. I always thought that, the army is supposed to be quite sophisticated, that they don't have to rely on certain maybe organizations. Because if the army is as sophisticated as you're expecting the army should have some form of intelligence. Why can they not check that your results are valid? Why should it be your job? Automatic, that whole system, I question that system so much. That whole if putting a washer moon so that if I can washer someone so that I can authenticate my papers, what should stop me from washer moon from using fake papers? Because that brought a lot of, I questioned the ECZ over that. When all those stories, I absolutely questioned the ECZ. It means anybody can get even papers from Matero, and they can absolutely, I'll just add somebody there that's joined in. And it means I can wash anyone. That for me, that's what it told me. I don't know about others. I'm trying to see what this name is. I can read Muka properly, but I can't read the first name. But welcome to the program. Is it Pinega or Pinega? Welcome to the program. Hello. I think they're struggling with their sound. I hope their sound can come on in time. But I think that was the only thing that had me thinking really. And why is it that in this day and age we should tantama? For me, that part of the whole lining up thing just puts me off. Because if I have to queue at 01, that's what some of these youths were saying. They had to queue up at 01 just to get your papers certified. Why should you do that? And why can you not get them certified at point of collection when you're collecting your certificate? Because again, that's ECZ. I'm thinking that's a way for ECZ to make money. So when you go and collect your certificates or whatever, why do you not then have to have them certified at that, at that point? Because I think that's where it makes sense. And like now, when they're recruitment and then they're making you all line up, in view of the fact that there's been COVID, why are we still going back to things that we were not allowed to do because of our health? That just felt really wrong. And like I was saying, I always thought that the army was sophisticated to a degree, intelligent wise, and that shouldn't even be happening. And it really brought up a lot of issues for me. First was that 34-35 gap. I don't get that at all. What's the difference? What is 12 months? Because if a youth is between 18 and 35, and then you cut it off at 34, what's the point? And this is not for an officer who's going to be active in duty. This is for an officer just because he's got a qualification. So if you have a qualification like a clinical officer, you have a qualification like a nurse, what's that 12 months difference? I just didn't get that at all. And it's cut off youth. So you're saying you want to employ youth and then you cut them off where it. I think there's certain departments, I think, when they say this is like active duty, I think that one, yes, I totally agree that you can't get above a certain age. The other one that equally made me really question it, and I don't understand this about these Zambian recruitments, is that single element. Why should a 34-year-old be single? Or an 18-year-old, because between 18 and 35, these are supposed to be your productive, active years. So automatically what you're saying is that all these youths between these ages who have gotten married or are in relationships or are married to foreigners should not be in these jobs. I don't understand what I don't understand what those requirements are for. And it's not, and again, because this is where now I question it, because the army isn't exactly as intelligent as I thought they were. How are they going to know that I'm lying if I apply and I go in and I just remove my ring? How are they going to know that I'm lying, that I'm not single? What are they using? There's no software in Zambia that is electronic that goes to check that I'm married or unmarried. There's no electronic system that checks in Zambia that my results are valid or non-valid. So when you tell people that they're supposed to be single for them to join ZNS, ZAF, or the army, where are you checking? Where is the validity? Where are you going to check? Because to start with, it doesn't even make any logical sense. Human beings have relationships at the moment that they are going at that 18 years old age things, and they're relationships because that's what the cycle of life is. You're supposed to start reproducing, so people get into relationships. So you cannot then mandate that you're wanting all that number of recruits that you're going to get are supposed to be single from a population that is actively in that reproductive age. That I don't get that part either. It just confuses me when I see those requirements, especially in the Zambian. And I think for me, it automatically tells me this is not an equal opportunity, because a lot of recruiters will say things like, "Oh, I'm an equal opportunities recruiter." That means you're not an equal recruiter. You've segregated. Why should you be segregating, especially the army? You need both women and men in service. So unless you're specifically just wanting men and you say, well, we just want 70% men and 50% women. So that kind of cuts off the women to an extent. A lot of women at 35 would have had most of their kids. There are very few women who are not having kids at 35. I know the years have gone further and people are having children later than our mothers used to have, but it's still defies logic why you would insist that all the people that you recruit are supposed to be married, are supposed to be single. And I think you want content people serving your nation. Worse, like ZNS. ZNS is service to the nation. So at what point would a marriage or a relationship hinder somebody's service to a nation? Why don't you apply it to Avui, MP? Because they are serving the nation. And then you take them away from their families. It makes sense for me. If you want to be a parliamentarian, remain single. That makes much sense because you keep removing them off their families. I think that would be. But it's a tough one. I just don't get that recruitment requirement. And I'm constantly asking myself, when whatever board sits to create these, because there should be some human resource personnel doing this, is no one saying it that this is actually segregative? Is no one saying that this is sexist? These have got implications. There's some sexist implications to what you're saying. I'm really confused. And somebody here, Mr. Davis Simbai, says, your point is valid. We have a Minister of Science and Technology doing God knows what for 2 years. His next comment says he's meant to work with ECZ to make this process easy. And I think he's very right. We began seeing recruitment challenges when they were recruiting the first batch, that was teachers. We began seeing issues from that lot. So why are they not learning off each other? To start with, why should these things be in newspapers when they're recruiting, they go and all line your names, move my papers, wasting paper, and then you're sat there checking your name when it could easily come on your phone. It's like there's a disconnect between the technology ministry and everything else happening everywhere. It's very confusing. And so I think we should be a lot more clever in this day and age. I don't think we should be sat there debating and getting confused over ECZ verification. An entire education board cannot create a system that you don't have to go and dandama. I'm really embarrassed to an extent because in this day and age, it should be so simple. I should just simply go online, get my verification code, and the army should equally enter it into their system and use that code that verifies and matches, it matches my name, it matches my NRC. That's what should be happening. But I think the Ministry of Technology, I think the term will be confused about what's going on in that ministry. Because I think, one, we are not inventors. That's the first thing. We're not inventors as Zambians. So what I would be expecting that ministry doing is to create systems that remove us from this paper age that we're still stuck in, and we go all digital. We are so paper-oriented, files left, right, and center. I recently went to a facility and as I was registering myself, the lady who was I think she's supposed to be the registrar, was using Tipex to cancel off the old name. So I suppose that's their system of deleting files and creating new files. And this was on Wednesday. So she was there with a new file and she's, Tipexing off names and writing my name on it. And I felt really embarrassed because I know that anywhere else in the world, this is a joke. Who would that? And this is a private institution where you're paying money for this service. So now you begin to ask yourself, if this is a latest or supposedly supposed to be an international standard institution, why are they using Tipex and Ekabook to register my information in this database? It should be so simple. And they had a computer screen somewhere, but they were just not using it. So it's really embarrassing. You're hoping for me, that's what my hope was, that when we saw the Ministry of Information, our strength is not invention. There can be inventions that come along, but I think we are playing to an extent, because I think recently I'd seen some computers being said, these are latest computers will be made in Zambia, but they say they are made somewhere else, something along those lines, and we couldn't. And that's the other thing with the internet and information readily at your fingertips. We were able to actually check and say, right, these laptops are actually not made in Zambia. But somebody will be ordering. What I understood it as, it's like, I buy something off Alibaba, then I come in Zambia and I say these are made in Zambia just because I'm selling them in Zambia. To be honest, that's what that was. And that's why it even died a natural death, because I just look at them, this is hogwash. But the minister was there and he was busy saying, well, this is made in Zambia. Well, where is the factory that's making these laptops? Where is the production line that's making these laptops when you claim that these laptops are made in Zambia? And I think when I Googled, it showed me the Philippines, if memory serves me right, between the Philippines and I can't remember which other nation that these laptops were supposedly coming from. And then they're going to be labeled or branded with a Zambian name. Now I'm thinking if we didn't have that elderly gentleman, and bless him, that the minister is intelligent. I don't doubt that he's capable. I just think he's out of touch. And we need to be honest that he's going to be out of touch because of age. He's not going to be readily aware of internet or technological advancements. You need somebody quite young, because we are open to things. We know what's going on. We know when the meta is being created. I don't even know if our minister has meta devices. I don't even know if he knows what it is. Because if he did know what it was, the whole of our Facebook would have changed, because we're moving towards that. And they are readily available on the market, but they're not talking about it. It should change the face of everything. So I just feel embarrassed when I see us struggling the way we're struggling internet-wise, and it's just embarrassing. Welcome, Mr. I think Simukonda.
Yes, thank you very much. How are you, madam?
I'm okay, thanks.
Thank you.
What do you think about this current recruitment?
Yeah, for the defense forces.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. I think my contribution on that one. Yeah, I see the post. See, I think it's a good move. Yeah, to recruit I think in all the defense forces, ZAFU, ZNS, and whatever. But I think the selection, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not happy with it, because there's a saying where I say that those who are married, who have children, are not qualified to apply. I think on that one they are disadvantaged other people. I think to go in that direction, no, because to save is just someone is just willing to say, I want to go and work in the defense forces. It's not something to say, I have maybe I'm married, I have children and whatever, so I can't go there. We've seen other countries, for example, someone is married with children, you leave the children and then he go and join the service. When he comes back, he joins the family. So to say we don't want people who are married, who are with children, I think is a disadvantage. Even those who are married, they want jobs, they want to serve the nations. It's not about children, no. For me, if I'm going, I'm married, I'll make arrangements with my family. So I'm going for this, but the time I'll be away, we'll be doing this and this and this. I'm old enough. I'm responsible. I'm a responsible person. Then I'll find you who agree with my wife and my family. Then I'll go. When I come back, I join. My main interest is to serve the service, not about marriage and kind of children. I think on that one, no. And also the issues of verification. I think Zambia we are still very far. I think when we say we've moved from analog to digital, I think in terms of that, we are still very far, because looking, for example, like verifying the results. Look at the ECZ offices. It's we are talking about Lusaka. Someone maybe from Shangomba want to verify results. You have to go to the provincial. People are moving distances to go and verify the results. You are spending money, and then you are not sure that if you are going to be picked. This should be online. We can verify online. We can apply online. Yeah, if you apply online, it will even reduce the issues of corruption and whatever. Because you're applying online, no one see you. Oh, this one applied. No, you just apply online. Then that's why you're having queues. You go on queue waiting for hours instead of doing other things, but we're spending time on queue from morning up to 18 hours. That time you can do other things. Whilst they are saying
Yeah.
time is money, but you go on queue waiting for verifications. You're wasting money, you're wasting time. Instead of using that time to do a productive things, but you go on queue wasting time. So we're still very far. I think we have to change. You have to put everything
Mm.
online because we have internet, online, whatever. We can put it online. People apply, verify online. Then that's all. Even of the issues of paying and watch, what I saw its advantage in other people's. And there are other people to go and Lusaka to go and verify. You spend money, then there you go there also. You spend money, then you go back. I think you are still very far. You have to look into that, introduce online things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think those are typically my what is my sentiments as well. It doesn't make sense. I think if memory serves me right, the UK age limit must be 35. I think you can even join up to 45, but you should join just before your 45th birthday. So you shouldn't join when you're actually 45. You should join when you're 44. I think America is 35, but there are unique cases sometimes where they actually even lower the age limit for maybe they have a need, especially when they have a need. I think they lower the age restriction or that cap for them to join. So I think it's one of those things. And unless the other thing is because we don't get, I think this is the other problem. We don't get information that we need sometimes trickling down to us. Because I think if the army did explain to say, look, we have a lot of elderly, we already are quite we already have so many elderly employees at this age range, so we only want this age. This is the gap we have. Maybe we could understand, but they haven't explained. Recruitment there's a need for But I think if they would explain, sometimes this might actually help. If they would say, look, the age group that we've had, now bakula nomba, we need fresh blood, and that's why we're specifically saying 18 to 25, you could totally understand. Why we're saying maybe 18 to 34, this is why we're saying that you could totally understand that. But that number off just puts you off, and equally that whole lining up is not impressive, I think, because one, it's so warm. I cannot imagine going to stand Mukutantama from 01. Now Mukaswa Konsaka, and you have people who have traveled. That's the part that really got me, that you'd have kids traveling or youth traveling from out of Lusaka, coming all the way to Lusaka, Walala Putipa zero, Walala Putipa line to go and stand the whole. It's such a. Are you already training or like are you being checked for your fitness? I think that's where there's a big disconnect between us and these ministries giving us information that is adequate and it makes sense. And even when they're doing this recruitment, it's not just like, because all we're getting is, oh, don't get this is a fake, this is the genuine one. And again, like I was saying, I've always thought that they're supposed to be sophisticated as the army. But here, people, I think even before, I think even as far back as last year, we've had where you get, I'm sure you've received a text that says, oh, fresh recruit, and they always recruit in Bemba. They never recruit in Tonga
Yes.
or Lenjo or anything. Yes, we've all gotten those texts. And that's because the army cannot fix that person, whoever does that, So it really doesn't give you much confidence in the in the security
Yes,
forces that are supposed to be protecting your nation.
yeah. And then
They're very
also again,
bad.
yeah, because looking at they want specialities. Yeah, let's talk about Zambia. For someone maybe to acquire maybe a certain skill, maybe you complete school maybe at the age of 20. That is let's put maximum 20. By the time you're going to college, you are 20, you are 25, 26. Yeah, then they say 34. I think we are disadvantaging ourselves. Yeah. So they want nurses, doctor there. By the time you are finished doctorate, maybe you are 30 something. Maybe you're talking about someone maybe is married, maybe have a child, whatever there. So we can't put those things to say we don't want this and this and this. I think we have to learn from other countries what they are doing. Yeah, even those who are married, they are going into senior saving. Because even there, people like they were going there with the wrong information. I think I don't know what happens after because it's not everyone who are going there genuine to say applying, they don't have children, they are not married. No, they will give a wrong information. And then when they are after
Yeah.
finishing the training back, they will neglect those children because the service know that this person is he has not done no children. Then what will happen? Those children will suffer.
Yeah, I think that's totally agreeable. I think the other thing that I wanted to talk about that has been happening between yesterday and today are the nominations. Well, the PF have been handing in nomination applications, if that's what I'll call it, for their next convention, and we have a list of names of those that have handed in this 200,000 kwacha. So we've had, I think the first one was Mr. Brian Munduvile. He's already leading the PF, I think, in Parliament. He's not doing a good job. So I was wondering on what basis did they even choose him. But well, I think the other thing is, I think they've got they've got a poor pool of who to choose from. So actually, if you're whatever 200, later, I think it's a case. So maybe for Mr. Brian, for Mr. Brian Munduvile, he's already in Parliament,
Yeah,
and I thought maybe if he had maybe shown himself, at that intellectual level, I would have said maybe, and I think he would be the natural person that people should be actually inclined to. But because even in Parliament, one time I think that was after the was it the budget? I'm trying to remember it was the budget or the presidential speech, and he was being asked, "What did you think?" And he said there was not much in there. And I'm thinking there was not much in there. That whole speech, that is it 4 hours that HH was speaking, the budget for much, that you could pick. And then even when he was asked, okay, what exactly is it that was not much for you? He couldn't pinpoint to answer and to convince me, who is not maybe PF, to say, look, this is what I don't agree with. So he's a very rather candidate for me. I just looked at him and thought, but if you're
yes, it's true. Yeah, actually, for the nomination for the PF, I think I saw yesterday they filed in even today, and also I also Honorable Chimbakambulu, I think he was on live where it was like advice to the PF. Yeah, I watched also today he filed in. I think for the politics, I think we don't to say we don't have a strong opposition party. I can say that we don't have a strong opposition party, and also I think as we are moving a country, we have to start differentiating the old politics and the politics of today. Today, a lot of, I think, maybe let me say above 50%, I think we have a basic knowledge. I think we have acquired up to grade 12 and we're able to understand the situation. So I think these politicians, they have to, I think maybe, I don't know, I think they have to move away from those politics of like, opposition, whatever anything is to oppose. No, because we're able to analyze whatever happens, whatever the government maybe try to implement and come up with, we're able to analyze to say, I think this is the right direction. But an opposition comes to say, no, this is not correct. You're starting thinking, is this opposition or what? So I think politicians, they have to, I think they have to learn. Let us not
Yeah.
think to say we are still behind. Talk of bringing issues of tribalism at this level. No. And then looking at those nomination, those who filed in PF, I think 90% they are members. So when they come to say tribal, whatever, what are they telling us? What are they expecting us to
Absolutely.
think? Yes, they're all members
So I
there.
think we have Mr. Emmanuel,
They are members.
Emmanuel Mwamba, Mausampa,
Yes.
Mutotwe Kakwaya. This is the only person I don't quite know. Then there's Mr. Chilufya, Chishimba Kambwili, again Mr. Bwalia, so Geoffrey Bwalia Mwamba. So yeah, it actually is a very quite regionist group. I won't say tribalist, I'll say regionist, regionist group. Because when I look again at Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba, for me, this is just somebody that, for me, I found this person is just power hungry. They've been in nearly every government. If they couldn't blossom in all these other governments, how would he blossom now in a party that is actually dead? How will he raise it from the ashes or from
I think we need to have new leaders in this political, because it's like you are cycling, like looking at, you say, okay, PF, they are just bringing the same same players that was lost the recent elections. So I think there are no other people who can fall for those positions. There are a lot. I think these are the people they have to. Yes.
Yeah. Then he's got all these issues in court. So how will he be a politician?
It's not possible. So we don't have.
Mr. Malstamp, maybe he's youngish, he's robust, and even as a man. But again, I look at him, and I'm thinking, okay, so if he becomes the president of this political party, does it mean he needs to drop his position?
Definitely, it's a president of opposition. So, which means we're going to have another elections.
and that's why sometimes I have this down. I like Mr. Malsam, but there are certain decisions where I always ask, but if you're because this automatically means he loses this position. And then he had his own political party at some point, left and then came back. I'm thinking, what is your direction? Is it just at all costs I should become president, or I should always be in politics? This is just rather Mr. Chishimba Kambwili equally has a party. He left it. It's now in Savoy's hand, but he's still vying to become a president here. I'm very doubtful. Already when he was having his trial during the PF time, he was struggling with his health. So how healthy is he now? Zambians, how many times are we going to be burying? Not that he's dying, but if your health isn't good, you can't handle a court case or court. How will you handle being a president?
I think they have to rest. They have to live for the young ones to take it up, and then they're supposed just to be advising, do this, not also coming back again. What do they want? They had time. They wait. They have to rest. And me, on my own observation, I think for the PF, it's not going anywhere. It's just that for now they don't have a president. All those people, they are just fighting for that one position. The moment they just pick a president, everyone, they will run away, and then that person will fail to run the same PF. Because, for example, like if others loses those presidential positions, they can't start finding for others, because looking at another, maybe I don't know, it's to wait another convention, it's when then they'll be even out of age, so it will not be possible. So that's why I think they have to pick a young one so that maybe they can start. And then this kind of politics, I think in Zambia, I think we have to learn from also other countries. Zambia, we only have one country, and if you want something good to happen to this country, we have, first of all, we have to love one another. Not the way it's happened, like politics, now it's become like a fight. No, it's not supposed to be like that. We've seen, like in that budget, what the current government presented. There's a lot of sense there, but then they come to lavish everything. Where are we going as a country, as an opposition? It's not everything that they can oppose. No, us on the ground, we are listening, and we're able to see, and we are able to analyze. So whatever they say, we start. I think this is not opposition. There's nothing that they can do.
No, I think that's absolutely true. I'm just amused by this list. I tell you, when I look at Mr. Geoffrey Mwamba, I'm thinking, my shukuru shuali. You know, it's the same thing with Mr. Chimba Kambwe. I look at them and I think, you know, this is retirement age. You know, you've
Yes,
been in
after
government.
this.
How many governments have you been in? How many political parties have you been? Or about is it, you know, one leg in here? This is just beyond. And maybe you can have the
Because
money, I think, for it, but man. And then the
all
ones
those
that
people
I
were
don't know,
in
I don't know,
MMD, from
Mr.
MMD they moved to PF.
Yeah. Then they're the ones that we don't know. Like
So
I'm not very conversant with these people. Chitalu Chilu, not Chitalu, I'm Mr. Mtotwe Kafwaya and Mr. Grayford Monde. I don't know who these are. So I want to FMP essentially, because when you look at the structure that PF is, it's a gang of sorts. It's the most popular
yes,
gang leader we're going to vote for. So when your name is not even known, now we for that 200. You should have just given us
yes,
what
they are.
to me, you know, these areas like 6 months.
So they would even donated so that maybe you can have desk in the schools. They can even build there maybe a school or a clinic from the rural areas than to go and just waste
Yeah.
money just like that.
So I think this is a very, very, very funny, interesting list. I was expecting the bulldozer and the owner of the chopper. I don't know whether they are still handing in nominations.
I don't know.
Because
Today
you see,
it's
if they were
I think
okay,
today was
the
the
PF
last
were
day.
okay
So
to. Or today was the last day.
I'm sure. So that is what I heard, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I heard today
Because
maybe
I was
Friday
thinking,
28th
so
is his last day,
yeah.
but
So it was
I'm
okay.
not sure.
They wanted to impose Mr. Mlanje, Mr. Bowman on the people of Kabushi and Kwacha, but they are not good enough to be their presidents. You know, when you think about it, because Wali Balwilisha Sana, you would think they would be the first ones on the list. For me, that's what I just thought. Only to see them not hand in, and I think maybe they've got days, but it was just very interesting that they didn't.
Yeah, we will hear from the PF. Maybe they can extend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the other sentiments that people are equally talking about is people are saying that this was equally a money cleaning exercise. But then when I look at the quantities, they don't make. I do apologize for that. I think my network, I lost my network there for a few seconds. So I was saying, what is the point of some of these nominations? But I think that's typical of our PF. PF is just an interesting political party. It's like Mlevuta. So Mwali, you missed Kuangala Kubwa HSO. But the other thing that equally made me feel very, where I could agree again on the money laundering thing, was why were they paying in cash? And I think somebody has just said that. Actually, that's really good in the comments. Why were they paying in cash? You know, it
They were
equally
paying
made you
in cash.
wonder.
Yeah, but I saw some. Is it deposit? I think is it for who is this? Is it a manual? I saw they posted on Facebook the deposit slip. Yeah,
Ah, okay.
so they withdrew and then they go and deposit through the bank, not like transferring from account. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe in those terms, I think maybe that makes sense if they were withdrawing and not just appearing with the money. But it was just a funny thing. I found it just very hilarious that that's how they were operating. For me, it just proves that is typical, you know, PF behavior. We should expect that is what we came to expect of them as a nature, and they are not changing. They are not. Even when they say they rebranded, I'm asking myself, so Nishbach they rebrand, you know? They do
No, that was,
it's
I
like to
mean,
tell
it
somebody
was
that I'm
just
moving in
by
a new house,
name.
but why send the crop of your pants? Who was send from the other house?
No, there's nothing like was rebranding. They were just saying rebranding, but nothing happened. They're still PF.
Yeah.
They're still PF.
So I think that
We
part
know them.
was quite funny for me.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
It is it's
It was terrible.
embarrassing. But I think this is our nature, and I think we need to keep having them remind us of who we are as a people and where
Yes,
we are
yes,
coming
yes,
from.
yes.
Okay, they don't want us to be mentioning the name PF that did this, but I think as long as they keep behaving this way, they'll be helping us remember. Because I think one of the problems with us Zambians, we forget very easily. We are us
Yeah,
were
it's
the
we
Israelites.
do forget easily, and then we start feeling pity for them. No, I think we have to move
Mm,
away from that. It's gone, and it's the
I
way. Is it? It's gone, gone, goodness.
yeah. I think that's very true. And I think for me, in this session, that's what I really wanted us to chat about. Um, I know it's been a while that I came on, so thanks to all those that were greeting. Thanks for the greetings and thanks for seeing you here. It's been a pleasure. I hope you're enjoying the weather. I know in Lusaka, for the rain to come, it takes quite a while. My late grandma used to say, "Vali, twalifula mina, Lusaka valifula mina lesa." So shufa. So I always laugh at this stage where you're really itching for the rain, but it's even raining in the places where you're not, and it's like you're playing around to get the rain, and it's still too warm. But I think it's a point where you become very grateful for human inventions like air cons and fans, and you begin thanking God for the weather rather than feeling really depressed about it. But we're very lucky to have such sunny weather, so we were supposed to be grateful and not complaining.
Yes,
But
yes.
Mr. Simkonda, thanks so much for joining me. This has been a pleasure. To everyone else that's been watching, sending in your comments, thanks so much. There are quite a few of you, and I might not have responded to your comments or your questions. So thank you so much for that. There was a comment I saw a while back, and I thought I could. So your question on tech use for applications are ambitious because not everyone has access and can use the internet for application process. Oh, I'd seen this, and I think the reason I was interested in this was to say I think we limit ourselves when we say ambitious. I mean, when the computer first came on and everyone is your universities here in Zambia will always demand that you have your work presented in word form, and it has to be shani 14 point where times Roman numeral. There are all those things. It still was ambitious, but people had to do it because that was the standard. And as long as we hold ourselves back by saying this is ambitious, we hold ourselves back to even levels of excellence. Because if we get
Yes,
things
yes,
on applications, if we say, all right, this is the government portal for employment. So when you are applying for jobs, apply. It's like the American embassy. The American embassy will never accept a handwritten application. They have the online. Ofuna, it's the online. But some of the people
yes.
that
That's
work
the
at
way
the
to go.
embassy, do they look like they are technologically advanced? No, but they ask for help. And when they ask for help from other people, it means you teach them. And what happens is people begin to
Yes,
get, acclimatized to new systems, and that's what we just need to do. And we need to be really honest
yeah.
with ourselves. Times have changed.
Mm.
Anywhere else you're going to go in the world, that's the expectation. You're going to apply for jobs online. So why not expose as many Zambians to these applications so that they can even apply abroad if they can apply abroad? I think
Yes,
for me,
yes,
that's where I'm thinking that we should remove this whole ambitious thing. We need to be ambitious.
yes,
If we're
yes,
not
yes, yes.
ambitious, we're going
I,
to remain the way we are, where our children have 4 computers for 300 students.
for games.
And when they have their IT exams, they write their IT exams the whole day, the whole night. Parents are waiting at gates, waiting for their children. I think we're not being fair to ourselves. We've got to be as
Mm.
ambitious as we ought to be. And I have a sadness towards the Ministry of Technology because I think he's trying, but it's not what we are doing as a people here in Zambia is we're ignoring our current state. Because when we say we want development, it should match our state. We can't say I want to be
Yes.
developed and then you go and get the best internet service in the world. Fika to Peter. That's what fish.
Yeah, it's true.
But if we
I
use
think
what is applicable to us now, I need internet
I think
services. So I get the internet service to Shangombo.
I think
Teach people in
for
Shangombo to have smartphones. Then now you can say, okay, this is the quickest internet service under the
yes.
planet, so bring it here. It makes sense, you know. But what we've done is we jump so many steps because we're trying to match the world, but we're not serving our needs as the people currently, I think. So when we are ambitious,
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
true.
and the whole development, we are jumping a lot of stages. And I think that's where
Yeah,
we're
so
killing
when you,
ourselves.
like
I
when you
would
talk
I would
about
think.
yeah, yes, it's true. When you talk about like the president said, we need to develop. So everyone we have to, supposed to be involved. It's not only the president; it's everyone. We have to put the inputs. As if even if we are not putting input, we can't talk about. We will remain at the same point. Then others are moving. So now I think we have to look at from where we're coming from, where we are today, and where we are going. So I think even the education curriculum, I think it's supposed to be changed. Supposed now to introduce computers should be a compulsory to everyone. So that as we are going maybe 10 years, 15 years from now, we'll be talking about something else. Everyone will be other than will be access to network and with in terms of technology. But as long as we are talking about development, you are not yeah, it's just a matter of talking but not doing it. We'll remain at the same point. Every day we'll be complaining. Like what happened? Is it not last year when there was COVID? Yeah, classes were closed, but others they used to learn through online. But for us, it was very difficult. So I think that was a wake-up call for everyone as a country. We have to move on from whatever we are going according to the where the world is now. Yeah, we can't run away. The world is going. There's a lot of things coming. Yes, I think that is the way to go. Yeah, when
Yeah.
it's coming, yeah, it will be very difficult, but we have to learn. We have to put effort. It's not easy, but we'll get used to it.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. And I think on that note, I will be saying my goodbyes. Thank you so much for watching us and joining in. Those who participated, as I said earlier on, thank you so much for your contributions, your questions, your additions. Whether they're positive or negative, please thank you so much because they help even this conversation become a whole lot more interesting. So thank you so much and good night.
Thank you very much.